been waiting for, so you'll forgive them their excitement. Let's just hope that doesn't boil over, and he's just turned up the pace once again. This is a little flatter section of respite, Sean, before the last 2 kilometres, so they've got 1,700 metres at the moment, just to put a bit of extra distance in before that final last ramp.
Yes, well, I think Chris Froome is thinking of, Contador and the other favourites down the road. He wants to pull as much an advantage as possible out of those guys, and it's a section here with 3.5 kilometres to go. It's a little bit easier here, and Chris Froome, when he puts in that acceleration, well, then he's going to put Quintana in a bit of difficulty. When he gets the more steeper part in the final 2 kilometres, that's where Quintana will have the advantage, because it does up to the line, the final kilometre, the kilometre and a half, the percentage is very steep.
Chris Froome rode Mont Ventoux for the first time with Sean Kelly not very long ago. Not the first time with Sean Kelly, his first time on the Ventoux. And as a debutant then, he said it's now quantifiable. He's able to picture it in his mind. He has mapped it out, and they have drawn up a strategy, and it is being delivered almost to perfection. It's not over yet, and Quintana is with him. So are quite a number of fans, as you can see. A little bit thinner on the ground at this part of the mountain, so we'll take that as a blessing. 3.2 kilometres to go until this day is done. And I'll be bound that at the end of this day, the gap between Chris Froome and everybody else will be significant.
Yes, it will be interesting to see how significant it will be. We can see here that Froome again, he seems to be wanting to talk to his director, and when you see a rider doing that, it tells it that he still have quite a bit left, because if you're really on the rivet and just hanging on the rider setting the pace, it's so difficult just to leave your handlebars go. Take one hand off your handlebar, it is a difficult thing to do, and he seems to be doing that quite comfortable on the time. He was doing it very early, but still at it, so it looks like that he is feeling good all the time.
Yes, if you're putting the power through the back wheel with your legs and you're nice and comfortable, it gives some respite to your arms. If you're actually pulling on the bars and you take one hand off, then you are in serious trouble. And Chris Froome is driving this one home. Light of grip, I think. What finesse. What picture is he drawing for us right now? It's a beautiful one. 2.8 kilometres to go. In 800 metres time, the toughest part of this climb will reveal itself. Here we go. Froome and Quintana still on the radio. What on earth is he asking for? Surely not champagne. Quintana at the front, along with Christopher Froome, and these two now have such a comfortable gap. It's 50 seconds back to Nieve and Contador, the nearest men to them. Richie Porte just smiling, and he looks over the mountain, and this is a man at ease with himself and indeed his role. A hero for Sky for the future, most certainly, but for me, he's been a hero today. He's done a great job. He's found his legs again, Sean.
Yes, well, he is the Richie Porte that we've seen so many times in the past, and what damage he done today when he started, taking the pace setting after Peter Kennack, set an unbelievable pace as well, because both of them killed off a lot of very big names here, especially Richie Porte. He just, blew this group apart, and it's what he's capable of doing, and we can see there the advantage. 50 seconds back to Contador. Our two leaders, Froome and Quintana, gaining all the time, and the other big favourites slipping further down. 1:45 of that group of Mollema, 10 Dam, and the rest.
2.4 kilometres to go, a little bit less than that right now, and these guys have been working extraordinarily well together. They've had their own conversations. Contador and Nieve, likewise, a little bit further down the mountain. In fact, quite a bit further down the mountain. We don't have a graphical representation of that gap, but it has grown. The clouds are starting to form on the top of the mountain. Thank goodness we've had no rain. That would have been almost a cruel addition to what has been the coolest day so far. Except for this man. It looks like it might even be a joy. What an effort. I cannot wait for us to have a chat with him at the end of the day. And indeed, chapeau to Quintana, who started this all. It was his bravery that really opened up this box. And out of it, wow, stood Chris Froome, finally alone and without teammates after great effort. The last man standing, Richie Porte. 2k to go then, and this, Sean, must be a glorious 2 kilometres. You know you've done the job, and it's just a question of dispatching it. I'm wondering whether Chris Froome is going to have an injection of pace even now.
Well, I'd not be surprised if he does have an injection of pace, because to win in the Mont Ventoux, we've heard Christopher Froome talk of recent as yesterday. He said, you know, the Mont Ventoux is a monument, is a great place to win. It's such an important stage, and he's going to, you know, give this one a big go. And I think the opportunity for him here, it's equal as it is for Quintana. Both of them are, you know, real good climbers here, and you're suffering big time here, but when you're out in front, you just don't feel that pain as much. And you know, the advantage for Froome back to Contador, 54 seconds, growing slowly all the time.
51 seconds it is now, and forming part of the radio traffic, because visually they also have the same pictures as we've got on occasion within the cars. I think they'll be translating from race radio and relaying back to these guys. Chris Froome, though, knows as the elbow flicks out, it says, come on to Quintana. Well, they say there's no gifts. I wonder whether Chris Froome might just give Quintana one on this mountain. He's riding with him at the moment. I suspect it'll depend entirely on how much effort he feels that Quintana is putting in right now.
Yes, well, I think they are working well together. They're, you know, sharing the pulling on the front. The problem for Chris Froome when he's in the wheel of Quintana, there's not a lot of shelter here. It's almost the same as if you're on the front yourself, but still, you know, mentally it's good to get the rider that's with you out front to go on the front and, you know, set the pace a bit. But I'd be surprised if we see any gift of a stage victory here. It's so important for both riders out in front to try and get the stage victory.
On the flat ride into Saint-Amand, the wind blew, and Alberto Contador and his Saxo Tinkoff team went on the attack. They stole a minute from Chris Froome as Quintana gets distance. There are no gifts up here, absolutely not. He wants that minute back. Froome did not like giving that away to Contador, and he's going to take as much time as he likes right now, and he is attacking on his own. Chapeau.
Yes, and again, you know, he just puts in these killer of attack, and Quintana, of course, been out there for a long time, a small lightweight rider. He, you know, went in the attack very early, so he's probably paying a little bit for the efforts. But to live with Froome, the way he's riding today, the form he's on, nobody able to do that.
Well, he's potentially going to put more time between himself and Contador than Contador took from him on that open run where the wind blew and the splits came. Saint-Amand, we've had splits today, but it's all been about visceral strength and indeed total focus. And as he approaches the Flamme Rouge, Chris Froome is riding like a champion in waiting. This has been one of the gutsiest performances we have seen from this man, and that is it's a collection of very top draw performances, let's not forget. And away he goes. He's going to be a lone winner up here today. Quintana, nearest man to him now, 11 seconds down, and a further minute behind is Contador and Nieve. Mollema, minute and 45, he's picked it up. That shows great battling by the Belkin rider, and all credit to him. They need to find something extra today, because it could come down to seconds, Sean, despite the fact we said it might well be minutes. And look at this drive to push on. Belkin doing a fantastic job of just trying to stay in touch and maybe save themselves for another day.
Well, we see the Belkin riders, Tendam, of course, with Mollema here, pretty flat on the bike. He looks like to be that also at the end of his powers here, but Tendam just setting a good pace, and they've got to do that. When you've got two riders from Belkin, you have to try and just limit your losses, keep on pushing here, and we've been hearing, you know, the advantage is growing out, but they're going to try and just limit it to as much as possible.
On the toughest day, you have to have strong will and indeed strong legs, and it is an amazing combination that is within this man. He wears the number 1, and today, let there be no doubt, he wears that yellow jersey and intends to carry it all the way to Paris. He's carried himself. He was, of course, nursed by his team at the beginning of the day. Nursing? Oh, what a guy. He has so much strength. Maybe he wouldn't have needed any assistance, but he got it, and that help has helped him to this point. Quintana is down the mountain, and indeed so is everybody else. Look at this, and listen to the crowd welcoming a true champion in waiting. There's the one kilometre to go. The Fleur Rouge beckons, and they're battling for minor places now. And Perito has found something else. Joaquin Rodriguez comes out of the saddle and decides that he's going to have a pretty good finish today. It's not going to be victory. Oh no, it's going to go to the yellow jersey. And Chris Froome, well, they say to be a true champion, you have to win a stage. Well, he's already got one under his belt, the X3 Domain. He's going to take this, and I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a few more along this road. It's Tour de France is not over, but we may well have found the champion. Quite remarkable. Mont Ventoux, the big one, and he is the master of it. The line beckons, and Chris Froome is going to be so relieved, and indeed so are we. And I think everybody else that the hurt is over. What a performance by Chris Froome, and they still just look at each other further down the mountain here. They've got a lot of climbing to do. This man is approaching the line.
Yes, and he is eating into the advantage he's pulling out of Quintana. We're hearing there it's growing out very quickly. We could see Quintana in difficulty as he comes around the final corner. You know, what a performance by Froome and the yellow jersey. It just proves that he is the man to beat in this year's Tour de France. Now we're going to see a big shake-up in the general classification, and especially Chris Froome, you know, pulling his advantage out once again with this real difficult finish at 1-2.
There's the line, there's the man. There, I think, is the winner of this Tour de France. Well, there's a hero as well, Quintana, rocking and rolling round the final corner, and they're screaming him on, and personally, quietly, deep down, so am I. I think this guy is just amazing. And Quintana, the emotions welling up. He thought he could have won today. I thought he could have won today. He's won plenty of hearts, and he created a stage for a mighty battle. Across the line he comes, 31 seconds down. And Contador and Nieve have separated, and here comes Nieve with Rodriguez, and he wants the day's podium. Perito just comes around the final bend. They reveal themselves one after another to the crowd at the line. It's a very tight, narrow finish line, this. They know there's never, ever going to be anyone side by side, surely. Oh, the rest will still go on, and Nieve says, no, I've done too much work to give away that position. It's great to see these battles here, albeit in slow motion, at the very top of Ventoux. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it today. We've absolutely loved it. We knew it was going to be special, and so it proved to be. Where Sean is Contador, and suddenly he pops around the corner, complete with teammate to spur him on. There are riders all over this mountain. It's going to take a long time for the pack to finish. Let's get Contador's time, shall we? 1 minute 40 at the line.
Yes, losing all the way, and you know, seeing Nieve right away from Contador, not a good indicator, certainly. You know, Perito finishing very strong as he can do. As we see Tendam just coming over the line. Everybody just fighting to get this line. The percentage here is real steep, and everybody just on the end of the powers getting to the finish.
Absolutely at the limits of their reserves. Chapeau to them all.
Well, absolutely well said, Carlton Kirby. Sean Kelly alongside him throughout this stage 15. A huge day at Mont Ventoux. A classic win for Chris Froome on a classic stage of the Tour de France. As the riders continue in, let me just remind you that we'll have highlights of today's action. An incredible day in the race for this year's yellow jersey. 9:30 tonight on British Eurosport. No racing tomorrow because it's the rest day. Tuesday we're back at 12:30. Remarkable stuff. Richie Porte making his way in after playing a big role today for Sky. We questioned how well Porte and the others would be able to support Froome. Would Froome need the support today? But in the end, Richie Porte's role, a key one. John Herity, Dan Lloyd here with me as we look back on the stage and look indeed as the other riders make their way in. It'll take a long time for everyone to cross the finishing line. John, a word on Chris Froome?
Masterclass of riding today by Chris Froome, and in fact